So I'm like, hey, do you like it? And he drank. He's like, yeah, it's good. Yeah. And he checks it out. He's like, man, it's actually really good.
Oh.
I'm like, good, because it's your freaking wild turkey rye, bro. It's actually blinded him on his own rye. So I'm very glad that he did like it.
And welcome to episode 9 of The Mashup, the best bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long. We're hosts Tony, Kenny, and Steven. Hello, Kenny.
Hello, Steven.
Hello, fellas. How are you
dog.
guys? Yeah.
Ant dog in the house.
You're sticking with the Tony now.
I like the stereo we had.
There you go. That's good, right?
Spatial audio.
Did you like that?
Yeah, it was nice.
It didn't even mess you up. You see? You got right in the zone now. There was a time where that would have thrown you off.
Throw me off, and I would have to start over 12 times.
Kent State Tony.
But did you say Kent
Tony.
State?
That's where the Tony thing is, right?
Oh my God!
Kent State.
Did you see what happened to them in their tournament game?
No.
Okay, I know we talked to March Madness last time. We're well into it now, but in the MAC championship, so Kent State they're always been a team that has been, their basketball team has been the greatest. Okay, when I was coming up, we made the Elite Eight. So the MAC championship game, which was played a couple weeks ago now, Kent State is like 16-16. They were 8 seed, and they had no chance. They get all the way to the championship game, like Kent State does. They're playing against Akron, which happens to be one of their biggest rivals, and they are losing by 1 point with 17, 18 seconds left. So the guy, Akron, was shooting a free throw. They missed the free throw. Kent State rebounds it, brings it down the court, shoots, misses. The guy puts it back with 4.5, maybe 5 seconds left to take the lead. So now they're up 61-60. Akron inbounds the ball, and the Kent State player runs over and does an intentional foul. He had no idea what the clock was. He didn't know they were winning the game. And so he intentionally fouls their best free throw shooter, who then promptly goes to the line, makes both free throws. 62-61. They get a last second shot off. They don't make it, and they lose the game. So they aren't dancing primarily because of that play. And you know what? I don't know that you could feel worse than that guy felt. He looked like he was shattered. And I won't tell you, I can't say what he was saying, but he said, why the F? I think he was saying, why the F did I do that? What have I done? He was just, they kept showing him on the sideline. Even my son saw the thing and was like, I can tell what he's saying. I was like, you think so? Oh my God.
So if he was not a senior, then coming to the transfer portal.
Oh man, I think he is a senior. My God, I can't believe. But Kent State almost was in the dance this year, but that's how they didn't make it in the last second. So
that guy has to live with that forever.
Yeah, exactly. Ridiculous.
He's like, what could have been?
What could have been is right. And so, how are you guys doing?
Good, man.
Yeah?
Chilling.
Well.
Yeah.
Enjoying the weather?
Chilling.
Yeah? You didn't have the weather that I had, though.
That's true. You came from vacay.
I did. I went to Florida. And have you guys, Steven, you go to Florida pretty often. And Kenny doesn't go on vacation. He just stays home all the time. No vacations for Kenny over the last 27 years.
That would eat into the bourbon budget.
Do you go to Florida, sir?
We've been going probably once every other year, probably on average.
Where do you go? What part?
It's either, recently it's been the Panhandle or Disney World.
So you're panhandling?
Yeah. Panhandling just for Disney World.
Yeah, we've been to Disney once, but this time we went to St. Petersburg, which is, south of Tampa, I guess? Southwest? I don't know. Just around the Tampa area. It's part of the Tampa Metro, I think. But people would disagree with me there.
My brother lives out that way.
Oh, okay. There you go. So we stayed at a hotel called the Don Cesar, yeah. And
does he have rum?
I was trying to figure out why it was called Don Cesar, but it's this really, I don't know. It's it fashions itself as a resort, but the whole history here is this hotel was made in the 1920s. And some of course, some rich guy who was after the love of his life. I'm giving you the short cliff notes here. Bought this property, built this up. It went from being the highfalutin place. FDR stayed there. Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig. The Yankees would stay there. All this stuff. Then it went into disarray. Then it came back up. It was a World War II hotel. It was a sanitarium at some time. They would bring the veterans back, and they would stay there to rehabilitate and stuff like that. And so it was going to be in disarray. Then they bought it and refurbished it, and now it's this property, a beachfront property right there in St. Petersburg on St. Pete Beach. So we had a good time, right? But I will say this. I'm looking at Kenny. He's having a moment where he's like, I don't go on vacation. This is what you're missing, man.
Oh, no, I'm good.
But we had like a lot of good food. We had a good stay. Family was the most important thing. But there's this one restaurant down there that we went to called Rumfish.
Okay.
It was awful. Okay.
Not awfully good.
You thought I was going to say it was awfully good.
Right.
It was literally the most awful, overpriced restaurant I think I've been to ever in
like
the
a tourist
history
trap
of
on the beach.
Tourist trap and a half. Now, we had a lot of great food at the resort. We had this like Cuban thing, bodega that was down in this up-and-coming area of St. Pete that was great. We had a lot of good food, but Rumfish stood out as being like literally the worst. And so not only was the food bad, but they had a Manhattan there. And I think I texted you guys about this Manhattan. Do you remember what I texted you?
I remember you texting us, but I forgot.
I don't. I just remember Manhattan, but that's all I remember.
Yeah.
I think it was called Lower Manhattan, and I'm sure they're trying to appeal to the New York crowd because, you know, Yankee spring training's there and stuff like that, trying to be kitschy. But it was like a Maker's Mark with chocolate bitters and something else.
Oh, I remember the chocolate bitters.
It was so watery and gross and chocolate. I don't know. I'm sorry. I thought to myself, come on here. I'm going to talk about my great time that I had at the hotel. There was still some unevenness there. I'd probably go back, but that restaurant, I'm just.
Did you go with
gonna
family?
rank them? What
Did you go with family or just you guys?
it was? So my brother and sister-in-law, my wife's side of the family.
Yeah.
We were with the cousins and everybody got to hang out.
Okay.
And that was the fun part, right? You get to hang with family and stuff. Man, that was a bad meal. I can't remember what I ate. It was so bad. Yeah.
Did you do any bourbon while you're down there?
I was going to do bourbon hunting, but I didn't get a chance to. There were a couple of liquor stores, but I did the research on them, and most were like, oh, you know, overpriced.
Yeah.
They're going to have allocated stuff. It's going to be thousands of dollars.
Ugh,
so I didn't even go searching because we had such a short amount of time that we were there. I was just like, whatever. But what were you doing, sirs?
I did a couple more barrel picks. Actually picked several more. It was fun. Picked with some guys out of New Jersey. And then I picked with Rare Bird and Alves. Frank, I forgot Frank's last name.
Frank the Tank?
Big Instagram bourbon guy. He's really cool.
There you go.
Frank was there. Aaron Conan was there. A lot of good people, man. A lot of good bourbon people. It was fun. We picked one of the ryes. So it's going to be a Russell's rye pick. They're bringing those back.
Okay.
So this will be, and I think I take it back. I misspoke. They're just going to call it like Wild Turkey Rye Pick. They're not going to actually use the Russell's name on it.
Okay.
Because they had those 4 to 5, 6, 4 to 6 to 8 Russell's picks from years ago that were rye picks. So there's not going to say a Russell's pick, but it is a rye pick Wild Turkey's doing again. I think we did maybe the third one, fourth one.
Really?
That they've brought back and done, but they haven't released any of them yet. But yeah, so it was fun. We did a bourbon and a rye both.
What age are those coming in at, and how do Steven and I get an invite? Steven's smiling over there.
Who said I didn't?
Oh, he was there. I didn't even know it.
The rye was 7 or 8 years old, I believe.
Oh,
And the bourbons, they just vary from 8 year, 10, 11 month up to 10-year-old and whatever.
So there's bottled at 110 as well?
It'll be bottled at 101.
101.
Because it's just going to call it, they're going to bottle them at 101.
Interesting.
Now, here's what's really cool is if you've been on a Russell's pick the last few years, Bruce actually has a barrel of rye that just sits there. So after you get done doing your Russell's pick, he lets you feed from the barrel out of a rye.
Interesting.
And it was great. So I've had it like 3 different occasions now.
The same barrel?
Same barrel. Just pour a small pour for each person on the pick.
That's a while.
So he said, I guess when he first put the barrel in the rick house, I think it was like 105, 106 proof. I did a Russell's pick about a month ago with a different group out of New York. And so I was able to grab a little extra out of that barrel. And
thieving the thief.
Bruce was out of the country. And Grant, let us thieve a little bit thicker
I take it
pours.
Bruce does not listen to our podcast.
So, I just, thieved just a tiny bit extra. But I took it to Macaulay down at Dark Arts. Because I did a Dark Art pick. Okay. So while I was in the Dark Arts pick down there, I took it and I had Macaulay hydro it. And it was 101.5.
Interesting.
So even though they're going to do 101 proof on the rise, that one was 105, 106 proof when Bruce first brought it into that rick house. And now that they've drank out of it, it's down to about 101. So they're not going to be adding much water to those, I don't think. So it's going to be pretty nice. Full flavor. Pretty exciting.
So Anthony went vacation. You did picks.
Yep.
I had a sick kid.
Oh, man. Come on.
That's about all. I got Tylenol. That's about all I got.
Well, Steven, you know what Kenny did with that rye that he thieved and took to Dark Arts? He gave it to Macaulay and distracted him, and then he went and thieved out of more barrels of Dark Arts, didn't you?
The pyramid scheme.
There you go. That's how Kenny's operating.
What I really did, though,
He's like, there's the Dark Arts.
well, so you know me, I love blinding people, right?
Right.
I heard.
But also not just, but like tricking them up,
Yeah.
like just messing with them, right? Love messing with people.
Yep.
So I'm not going to get into the long story about how I messed with Justin Sloan about a year ago. I thought he was going to like write me off after that. I really like busted his balls big time.
Okay. We'll have to hear about that another time.
Yeah. So what I did though with that is the Wednesday before our Russell's pick, we were down at J-Hop. So David Jennings, Rare Bird 101. Yeah. Alves, Aaron, a bunch of 8 to 9, 10 different of his people were in. So I poured, and Bruce Russell was there. So I poured Bruce a blind.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, try. And I poured it out of my little, 8 ounce, Boston Round.
Okay.
4 ounce Boston Round. He's like, what is that? I'm like, I'll just try it, man. See what you think. So something I've been working on in the basement, and
Basement.
And Alves, like, yeah, he's got his hydrometer down there, and he's got his little micrometer or like a little micro scale because I I do blends and stuff here, or I'll take something that hey, it's got good flavor and it's sitting at 134 proof. Let me do it at 130 and 125 also, just to see if there's like a different sweet spot that I like better.
How do you measure that? You're like 1 gram of Weller, please.
Well, no, I do. I've got a little scale, and I'll weigh out the bourbon.
I know, I'm just messing around.
And then I do have a spreadsheet that my son, who is way 500 times smarter than me, made, to where you actually enter the proof you're starting at, the proof you want to finish with, and your initial weight, and it tells you exactly how many grams of water to add to it.
Oh, man.
So, but I told Bruce, hey, it's something I'm working on, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, hey, do you like it? And he drank. He's like, yeah, it's good. Yeah. And he checks it out. He's like, ah, man, it's actually really good.
Oh.
I'm like, good, because it's your freaking wild turkey rye, bro. It's actually blinded him on his own rye. So I'm very glad that he did like it. So it was awesome.
That's funny. What
Better
if
than if he didn't like it.
Yeah. He said
That's
he
what
hated
happened
it.
to Sloan, man. I actually blinded Sloan on some of their own stuff.
Yeah.
And he didn't like it. So it was
That's funny.
So that's why I busted his chops with that one, man.
Dude,
But,
I can't imagine.
it was funny. It was
That's
super
great.
funny. But Bruce did love his own stuff, so it was great.
Well, there you go.
Well, guys, another week, another fun review.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Keep those reviews coming. And this is another 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, which we truly appreciate. And this person, the title of the review is Truly the Best Bourbon Podcast. And this listener said, I've been enjoying bourbon and whiskey since around 1989.
Dang.
Wow. Woo.
I was a wee lad.
But just started collecting.
That's about when I started drinking, though.
Oh, yeah?
Seriously.
Really?
I was 14 years old then.
There you go.
I drank like a fish when I was like 14, 15, and then like I quit when I was 16.
Well, there you go. You're in good company with this review.
That's
here.
pretty wild.
So he also said, just started collecting about 2 years ago. You guys have a great show that is entertaining as well as informative. Keep up the good work. And they signed it Patrick R. But the name here, the screen name of the user is what I'm really drawn to, which is
I love it.
Homie G Dog Funk Monkey.
I love it.
So Patrick sounds like a really cool dude and somebody that we should get together with and hang out with. So we really appreciate that review of our podcast. And the fact that you've been drinking since 1989.
Now,
and
is that he 21 then, or is he 12?
Yeah, I don't know.
I was 14.
There you go. See,
So-
I mean, hey, I remember having my first drink, and I was probably about 14, probably around there, maybe. Yeah,
My very first, yeah. All right,
Very first drink
hang
was
on.
earlier,
What was your
but, like, first time drinking.
Okay,
So very first
I
drink.
can tell you this.
All y'all go. Very first drink.
My dad's always told me when I was little, he had this little fridge, and he said, go get me a beer. And I would go and get those little little bottles.
Yeah.
And he would always let me have like the first sip of it.
The little the Michelob ponies. I know what
Yeah.
you're talking about. They
Yeah.
weren't ultras back then.
I
They
mean,
were
not
just
like a drink. He just let me
the
like
gold labels.
just
Yeah.
taste the liquid.
And now I will tell you this: the first beer that I ever had too was the same thing. I don't know what it was. Maybe Michelob was the beer back then.
Well, just back then it was like now the banquet bottles are
Yes.
that shape, or the red. What's the Jamaican one?
Oh, Red Stripes.
Or the Red Stripes is like the same shape, basically.
Yeah, exactly. No, I remember having a little sip of Michelob. Was probably the first drink I ever had.
Oh, there you go. Mick Ultras.
My first drink.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh. So
Redbreast 57.
I was close.
57-year-old redbreast.
What was I? I would have probably. I don't know if I was 8 years old, 9 years old. It was horrible. So I go to get. It's like breakfast time. I go to the fridge.
That's a bad time to start drinking.
I go to the fridge.
That was some spoiled milk.
I get the orange juice out. I pour myself some orange juice. Take a big drink and just bleh. Evidently my mom had mixed
Gin and tonic? Or not gin
orange
and tonic.
juice and like vodka or something in there.
It was a heavy
So
screwdriver.
my very first drink, I was like,
Oh, no.
so bad. Oh, so
Dang.
bad.
Well,
So
thanks,
bad.
Mom.
I also smoked in like the second grade.
There you go. Oh, dang.
I was a degenerate, bro.
Dang.
But honestly, no, that was great.
Somebody gave me a cigarette.
No, it was great.
I probably would have smoked the wrong end of it if I
I went.
They're like, I burned my mouth.
I was in the dugout. We went down to the park. I was in the dugout on the field. Smoked. Took 2 puffs, and so disgusting that I never smoked again. So,
Well, that's good.
it was good getting out of the way at a young age.
That's right. Heck yeah.
Degenerate. I'm so sorry. Gosh, I'm so bad. Sorry. You actually try to be open, but it's just, it is easy. But that last one at home, and then even with this one, man, it's just really cool because we really do appreciate, our listeners, man.
Oh, absolutely.
But
Yeah.
we really do try to be very honest, very fair, review some lower end to high end and everywhere between, just to get people a good feel for things.
Yeah. Unless it's BT, then I'm buying everything.
That you are.
Tater. No, I'm just kidding.
And if you taters like a shout out, just leave a review on Apple Podcast. Kenny can't read it, so that's great. And next time we record, we'll give you a shout out.
Boom.
All right, boys. So for tonight, we kind of have a head to head, if you will.
Okay.
Going to compare two bottles and see which one I guess we like better, just see what we thought about them. Tonight, we have a bottle of Pursuit United Bourbon and Rye.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Double O, yeah.
There's 2 bottles.
Triple. There you go. So this Pursuit United Bourbon and Rye is coming to us from Pursuit Spirits. And they're not really a distillery, but they do have a location, brand new location down on Whiskey Row. And you can actually book tours there, but they're a non-distiller producer. The ABV on both bottles that we're reviewing tonight is 54. The proof is 108. And so we'll start with the bourbon first. The bourbon, we don't have the exact mash bill because it's a blend, but they're sourcing for this blend from 3 different distillers. The first is Bardstown Bourbon Company with a 75% corn, 21% rye, and 4% malted barley. The next one is a Tennessee distiller. They don't disclose, but I think we can guess who that is, right?
There's still 2 down there, though.
There is 2, so we don't know which one it is. They say Tennessee distiller with a 80% corn, 10% rye, and 10% malted barley. And then New York, which we know is Finger Lakes Distillery, which I don't know a whole lot about. That's 70% corn.
Been there.
You've been there?
Oh, I've been to Finger Lakes.
Oh, nice. 20% wheat and 10% malted barley. So that's the bourbon. It's a 3 distillery blend. And then the rye is a mash bill of Bardstown, again, Bourbon Company, which is a 95.5. Then they have Sagamore Spirit Rye, which they have 2 different rye mash bills from them. One is a 95.5 and the other one is a 52% rye, 43% corn, and 5% malted barley. So right off the bat, one thing I like is you can find all this information about what they put in these bottles right on their website. The MSRP for each bottle is, I believe, $59.99. I've seen $65 in a couple places. And it's worth noting that they first debuted these bottles in 2021. And so even though that they've blended and they've done that for quite a few years, there may be some variations. But I think the bottles we have are probably some of the first ones, either 21s or 22s, somewhere in there, but it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I don't think they're the latest release.
Yeah, I think now they're marking which batches and
They have
things
batch
they have on them.
yeah.
But these are the ones that are, they're OG-ish, I guess, if you will.
Well, the mash bill does not line up for traditional Dickel.
Right.
So, I mean, it might be the other one down there, or Dickel might have multiple mash bills too, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
But
Right. So let's talk quickly about these bottles. I mean, they're pretty simple. You guys have seen this bottle shape in a lot of other places, I'm sure.
They look like pills.
They look like pills. Yeah, it does look like a pill with a topper on there.
they're very easy to ship size bottles.
They are. They absolutely are.
Are there any other bourbons or whiskeys that have this shape?
I think so. I think it's a pretty generic shape, isn't it?
Looks like a generic bottle.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I don't know if know that exact bottle size, but I mean, it's similar to Bull Run. It's a tiny bit smaller, different shape than Russell's, but it's that same basic style shape bottle.
I feel like that Bull Run's more like a Stag Junior, right?
Yeah, a little bit. It's kind of in that realm. I remember Goodwood. Do you remember when Goodwood was putting out bourbon? They put it in the exact same bottle.
This is, yeah.
There you
I actually
go.
have Goodwood over there. Yeah, it actually looks exactly like that.
Yeah. So it's not that it's not that there's an overabundance of bottles that look like this,
But it's just still kind of just a simple.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
very
real basic.
simple. Yeah, nothing. I mean, again, with glass costs and everything being what they are, I would assume that that's probably better. But the labeling, I think, on the rye is green, of course.
It is.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. The bourbon's kind of like a.
Almost like St. Patty's green.
There you go.
Shimmery. And
there you go. Right. We should have done that one during the St. Patrick's Day, right?
We should drink some Taiwanese whiskey.
Right. And then what? The other one has like a brownish color, right? The bourbon.
Copper
Yeah.
looking one.
Yeah. But the bottle, not a whole lot to it. What do you guys think about the look of it? You like it?
It's fine.
It's plain. It's simple.
It's plain and simple. Yeah.
Which, when I first heard we were going to do these bottles, first thing I started thinking about was what we talked about a few podcasts ago
Which was
about the bourbon boom. Is it ended? Is it coming? This and that, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And the reason I thought about that is because these are NDPs, non-distiller produced. And so wherever they're sourcing from, it's like, if the bourbon boomy thing is kind of over, like we talked about, it's a matter of, do you want to try to support, number one, is it good? And
Right.
And number two is what really differentiates them. Are they good standing in the community? People like them. People love them, this and that. To be able to buy theirs non-distiller produced over the other 700 other non-distiller produced that you can buy on the market. So that's the first thing I thought about when you said we were going to do these bottles.
Right. Absolutely.
That's what came to mind for me.
Yep. And so I guess that should bring us right to talking about it. So for those who don't know, there are probably people who are listening to our podcast that may not know about
They could.
how these bottles originated. But, I can tell you guys very quickly that this is a very, it's a spiritual experience for me. And the reason why I'm saying that is because those who don't know, Bourbon Pursuit is a podcast that has been around since 2015.
The number one bourbon podcast.
They are
right?
the number one. They're the big dog.
Number one bourbon podcast out there. And it is actually a podcast that sort of, I would say, was a catalyst for me to take what was a hobby and a genuine interest of mine in drinking bourbon and kind of took it to the next level.
Yeah, I did.
Because, yeah, exactly. So there you go. I mean, when did you start listening? Do you remember when you started listening?
Probably like our listeners now, they were interested in bourbon. You typed in bourbon in
Right.
Apple Podcasts, and they were like number one or up there.
Exactly.
And I just started listening to them, probably maybe 16, 17.
Right.
I think I did.
Yeah, I think
just off and on.
and it's funny. I remember listening to a little bit of ABV Network with Steve Akeley. Mm-hmm. That was the only other one I listened to, and then I would listen to Bourbon Pursuit. And so, in a way, it's funny to be sitting here now. We're about to review bottles that I kind of listened to the evolution of how that came to be, right? Because so not only was the knowledge that they were bringing out of podcast things that was really important for me, and now, like you said, it's kind of weird to think that there's people listening to us,
right?
That are like, we want to know what these guys think about certain whiskeys, and so that relationship with them and listening to them, and then now seeing this come about is kind of crazy. It's kind of like a full circle kind of moment,
And they've spun off to have different types of episodes throughout the week.
Right.
I think Friday's probably my favorite of their podcast.
Right.
It's like
Exactly.
their news and kind of what's going on.
Right.
In the industry more so than a review.
I guess I'm the outlier here.
Oh yeah, Kenny, please.
I've listened to 5 minutes of one episode, 15 minutes of another episode, maybe 10 minutes, and that's all I've ever listened to them ever.
But have you listened to much bourbon media and podcasts? I mean, I know that you. So I mean, you can explain it. I don't need to explain it to people. But for me, when I met you, you seemed to be like that. You'd rather go through your own experience than listen to others. I mean, I
just don't trust people.
Yeah,
and it's not just because 100% people have different palates.
Right.
And that's why I've even said it here multiple times. Just because I like or dislike doesn't mean you should like or dislike. What you want to do, and whether it's our podcast, somebody else's YouTube video,
right,
is if we say something is good, try it, and you think it's good, and you do that on a few different bottles, then you can say that our palate's kind of aligned. Or if I say something is bad, but you like it, that doesn't mean it's not good. It's just our palates are different. Well, find that person who your palate lines up with.
Right.
That way they can give you the most honest, accurate reviews for your palate.
Yeah. Right.
And so I came on board, said late. I didn't take my first sip of bourbon until like 2020.
Right.
Like getting into bourbon, for the journey of it, not the destination of it.
Right.
And with Alves just being his biggest mentor and just having access to great bourbon, with him and Mossick kind of being my little Yodas per se, I did a lot of it. I just like to do it on my own and not really listen to a lot of other bourbon people, because also, honestly, when I ventured out and went to certain websites to look at their reviews, certain YouTube videos, some podcasts, I'm just like, everything's good. Everything's great.
Right.
Buy this, buy that. And
Right.
I want to get down to the nitty gritty and know what the true, honest truth is. And so I really don't really do much listening to any other bourbon people, man. I have my select 4 to 5, 6 friends of bourbon that I'll, trust when they say something's good.
Right.
And then besides that, I just do it for myself.
I got you.
Well, I think our journeys are way different. Like,
Yeah.
I liked it, and I very much tiptoed into it, right?
Right.
Like, I didn't spend a lot of money on it. It'd be exciting to get a new bottle. I didn't think about the collecting aspect of it way back in the way. So I kind of like took their podcast and kind of journeyed with them on different things that I would guess because I was tiptoeing into it, just to hear what they had to say about it.
Yeah, I agree with you. And like, I can relate to a little bit of what both of you are saying.
No, I totally agree with Kenny. But
because there are times where there's things that I hear about and I'm like thinking to myself, well, it's going to be wonderful. And I go buy it. And I'm not saying about Pursuit specifically,
Just in general.
but just in general, right? Where you read about a review and someone's like Breaking Bourbon, for example, right? They're part of Pursuit's community roundtable. They might give something like a 4 or 4.5 barrels, like they did with the Larceny this past year, and I didn't like it at all.
Larceny was disgusting this last year.
Yeah. I mean, again, and that's the thing.
Bad.
Like, you go back and forth and you say, like, well, what are you doing? And so I do think that they, the other thing I want to mention too, when we're talking about them, is they got over 800 episodes, right? They've been doing the podcast stuff for a long time. They started off doing a lot of barrel picks. I think they did, over 40, 50, 60 barrel picks or something before they even thought about starting their spirits company. I'm sure it was the back of their minds the whole time around. But, kind of listening to that, I don't know, having it sort of gel with my own experiences in whiskey was a nice support system. And then on top of it, like, I used to message them on Instagram, ask them questions, things like that, when I was, very curious about certain things and didn't have a community to ask, and they would get back to me and stuff. I'm sure they got hundreds and hundreds of messages. And so I've just appreciated that their podcast and also appreciated them and what they're doing. And it's funny, it's Kenny Coleman. They got their Kenny. We have our Kenny.
Blind off. Let's go.
And Ryan Cecil, who are the original hosts of the podcast. Now they actually have Fred Minnick as a co-host as well. Yeah. He's listed in their notes as a co-host, and so there's probably not a bigger name in bourbon reviewing than Fred. And so they got a lot going on here. And so when we think about this brand, you got to talk about it before we start nosing and tasting here. That
there's a lot of history behind
a lot of history
right before we even going.
Yeah, and I guess that's kind of like
I might try to listen to a few.
Yeah, the dream there too. When you think about
I really might just try to go in.
If you could quit your job, I'm not saying I think they have regular jobs, but if you could quit your job and just do whiskey, they both have jobs. They don't just do whiskey. Would you do it? I mean, that's kind of the dream, right? That you want to be able to work in whiskey, and they're kind of like got their feet in both ends, right? They got their regular jobs, and they're also very much building this brand in this company. So I'm excited to taste it. I've tasted the rye, in full disclosure, before, but I don't remember if I've ever tasted the bourbon. This might be the first bottle I ever bought and just never opened it.
You said 59 MSRP?
I think that's where they're at. Yep.
I've seen some, 59 to 69, right?
Yeah,
some
I think,
places.
Steve, what'd you say? You thought it was 65?
I heard that this past year, both the rye and the bourbon were 65.
Okay.
So,
Right.
we're right in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think it maybe just depends on the store.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe the original MSRP was that, and then maybe they raised it to 65. Who knows?
All right.
So you guys ready to go for our first nosing?
Let's do it.
Just start with
good.
the bourbon.
I'm nosing both.
Those in both?
Yeah.
I'll start with bourbon first for me. So bourbon, I'm getting a little bit of like a brown sugar note, a little sweetness, a little bit of honey.
I get a caramel butterscotch, pretty strong.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not a bad way to start.
Yeah, I had to give my bourbon a second because so you like it more like honey and caramel. I don't get as much brown sugar, like as deep. I get like a lighter sweetness. Is that right or no?
Yeah,
Did you get brown sugar?
probably,
Or not really much?
I said brown sugar, but Steven says butterscotch, but it's a sweetness. So it's
honey,
a honey
butterscotch,
sweetness.
caramel.
Yeah, honey sweetness.
More of the not
brown sugar. That was wrong on that one.
Go for the rye.
Not wrong.
The rye.
Go for the rye.
Yeah. Well, you know,
According to Woodford, you can't be wrong.
you can't be. There's a what?
You could have smelled Elmer glue. and
You only
it's
have
there.
a finite of 200 million.
You could have, yeah.
notes
I
you
mean,
can
you
get.
can't be wrong according to
Hold
Woodford.
on, I have that cantaloupe scent.
Yeah.
That youth cantaloupe scent.
So the rye very much has got that piney 95.5 nose, which doesn't surprise me since most of it, well, we don't know how much is in the blend, but they're sourcing 2 distillates that are both 95.5. A little bit of fresh cut oak, kind of like, you know, a little bit of young oak. I
guess spearmint.
Spearmint?
Yeah.
Now here's the question though.
What's that?
So on that rye, that was Sagamore.
Oh,
Was part of
yeah.
it, right?
Yes.
So remember, there's some Sagamores we've had
That we liked.
that were awesome because they were 100% MGP.
Right.
Then there was Sagamore with their own distillate that we did not like.
It's true.
So where this is Maryland, is this MGP Sagamore or is this Sagamore?
Right.
And you don't know. Well, the nose is more powerful, prominent, dominant on the rye versus the bourbon. Definitely.
Right.
It's like more, I'm not saying, just it's.
Yeah, it's got a nice, it's a more pungent nose and more complex it seems a little bit than the bourbon. But so as we're going through this, I know we're talking a little bit about Bourbon Pursuit and how much they mean in terms of bourbon media and what they bring up. But I got to thinking about the fact that if you look at the products that they offer, so they have these shelf products, as we would call them. Then they also have 2 extensions of that, which is their twice toasted bourbon and their sherry Revere rye, I believe it's called. Those 2 products are part of their regular line, and they have individual single barrels that are mostly cast strength, but they're sourced from all over the place. And so, like, I have to imagine just from listening to Bourbon Pursuit and just from kind of knowing that these guys, not only are they talking to a bunch of different distillers, but they have, I'm sure, an endless amount of connections to get barrels. And so I'm just imagining like a warehouse full of like barrels from all over the place, right? So I've seen they source from Woodinville, got Finger Lakes, got to have MGP, Tennessee, Bardstown, you name it. So they have all these barrels, and that's kind of, I think, that's a little bit unique, right? I mean, I say unique in a sense that, like, I know that might be the model that people like Rare Character are following, right? Where they have, you know, barrels from all different places. Dark Arts is probably doing the same thing, and others are doing it. But, like, at least public facing. Sometimes people don't tell you where the barrels come from. They're saying where everything's coming from, right?
Yeah. So the thing is, though, a lot of those places, like you mentioned, are usually sourcing either just solely from MGP. Like the Dark Arts, I believe it's really just MGP.
Okay.
Old Louisville Amine is MGP. I think he did get, they had those Nash Tucky barrels floating around.
Yeah.
There were some of that beam type juice or something. So I think he might a little bit, but in general MGP. But these guys, I mean, where they say Maryland and they say Tennessee, that's kind of very unique, on that aspect of it.
Right.
But I guess it really, the big thing though, if you have all these different barrels, I mean, dude, it comes down to your blender,
right?
Your taster.
Who's the blender?
Well, I think the blender is actually
is them?
Ryan.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, Ryan Cecil. I think he's the guy that's doing the blending there.
Okay.
I'm sure that Kenny's involved.
Yeah, sure.
But when I've listened,
I'm not messing with that.
Kenny
The
Coleman,
other
the other
Kenny.
Kenny. Yeah, I think that when I listened, they were saying that he went through all of his like certifications, like distilling certifications and all that kind of stuff. So he's the one I think that does the blending mostly. And then of course when they do single barrels, so people are doing whatever. But yeah. No, it's crazy.
That taster and that blender, I mean, because a lot of these, like we talked about, a lot of stuff's batched, in general.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that taster and that blender just plays a huge role in that. I mean, just ginormous,
I thought we said a couple episodes ago I wasn't interested in a third shift master taste.
I know, but it's nice.
Here we go.
Here we are.
I mean, but it is it's like we talked about with Elijah Craig, barrel proof.
Right.
That single barrel program from a lot of us bourbon nerds has been the most disappointing single barrel program.
It has been.
Because in general, you look forward to a single barrel, but a lot of their stuff's not been good, not been near as good as the batches.
That's right.
So their blenders and tasters are just freaking masterful of what they do.
That's true.
Blending is not, and then it is not
Not for the
easy
faint of
like
heart.
that.
Yeah.
Talking to Macaulay on the Dark Arts, because he was talking about doing some blends, and some other people, I guess somebody on social media called them out about something, and he was like, "Hey, come over here and do it yourself, or not do it." Maybe I'm paraphrasing, but come over here and let's blend, let's do this or that, and I'll show you. It's not easy like you thought, and it's way more involved than what you think.
Yeah, I know. You gotta blend like Mattingly. I'm just kidding. I had to bring it up. You said it's way more involved.
Yeah,
so I was
I know.
no, Mattingly's
Trash
a good
can
dude.
bourbon? No.
It's
That's before my time though too.
Yeah, no. I had to throw that in there because originally though, like that was one of the original places you could go make your own blend. At least before people were doing a lot of that, and it was on the consumer side. It was pretty cool. So
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
All right,
Let's go down this road.
let's get some taste in here.
Y'all tasting bourbon or rye first?
Bourbon.
I'm
Stick
doing
with the
bourbon first
All right,
too.
I'll
yeah.
do bourbon.
Yeah.
All right. I like the mouthfeel.
Okay.
What was the age on this? All right. It's just not.
We don't got
stated,
it.
man.
Non-age stated. Don't know much about it.
Non-age stated means they're not proud of it. Just I don't mean to be rude like that, but in general, usually if something's non-age stated, you're not proud of it. If you're proud of the age, you'd state it.
Right. I think they've even said as much. They've even had podcast discussions on what is the right age
Right.
to say, we're proud of this. I mean, on their roundtables and stuff like that. So,
And I guess maybe that's not the right word to say proud of it. Marketable
when does
as
it,
well.
Yeah. When does it? Yeah.
Because
when does it matter?
You might have something that's amazing at 6 years old, but if you just say 6 year on it, some people are going to just shy away from it automatically.
Right.
So I guess that proud, that might have been a little harsh, but definitely it's not super. It's not older for sure, or else they
Right.
would
It's
say
not hitting that 8 to 10.
Right.
That's easy to.
Yeah, if it was 8 to 10, you would age state it.
So I'm just going to give you my first impressions here. I like the front palate and the mid. I'm not a super big fan of the finish. The finish is hitting a little flat for me. When I say a little bit flat, I mean it almost like has like a carbonated beverage finish, like just like a weird. I don't know what it is. Something's bothering me about the finish, like a soda water carbonated beverage finish, like
Tingles
a flat.
the tongue like that.
Tingles the
Yeah,
tongue.
it does.
But tingles without a good spice though.
Yeah, there's no like it. There's
just
not
tingles.
there's not a backbone to it, right? So up front, I'm getting that honey is definitely transferring over. The sweetness is transferring over. I like the mouthfeel.
But it's still like butterscotch caramel
yeah.
and honey. It's not like deep brown sugar.
Yeah, no, but it's a nice sweet up front.
Yeah.
What are we getting?
I'm right there with you.
That's
that same
okay.
stuff, man.
Same stuff.
Yeah.
Just
like
kind of
dead serious. Yeah,
front and middle and finish is kind of just all right.
yeah, just the very front sweet. Somebody do like sweet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
108. Okay.
Yeah, it's not a strong like finish. No real hug.
No.
Yeah.
Well, the thing on this, some people hate these words, but flavor ride.
Right.
But I like a roller coaster. I like a flavor ride where the front tastes a little different than the middle, tastes a little different than the end. This is just kind of all just you get a punch in the beginning of sweetness, and then it just kind of there's just mellows out from there, and there's not just kind of like a straight line to me.
Right. Yeah. No. It's. I won't say this. It's probably pretty crushable. Meaning that it doesn't drink above proof at all. So that's good, and it's got the sweetness. It just.
I mean, if you're hanging out, this bottle will be gone in a night.
Yeah. No, I think so. I think
It's pretty easy drinking.
Pretty easy drinking, yeah, for sure. Pretty smooth. Smooth. Can I use smooth?
Yeah, that's the
People
thing.
hate the descriptor. I think they hate the descriptor smooth, so that's why I just smooth. It's smooth.
Yeah, I think if you poured like a 100 proof Rock Hill Farm or even a 93 Blanton,
Yeah.
this it's sweeter than those two.
I
But
think
I
so.
don't know if it's got the mid or end palate of those. I don't know.
I got you.
I think it's not too far off from those though.
I got you. No, I agree with that. All right, on to the rye, sirs.
Hit the rye, yeah.
Rye. Hit that rye.
Right off the bat, I may like the rye a little bit more than the bourbon.
Really? What are you tasting that you like better? Do you know what you're tasting?
You got like a spearmint on it.
Yeah, I mean that's the first flavor I got.
All right, it's gonna sound weird. I'm not getting so sometimes on ryes. I mean, I get just like a sweet, just a sweet caramelly rye.
Right.
Sometimes I'll get dill pickle. Sometimes you'll get just like a rye spice, like a spicy.
Right.
This is like the sweetness without the,
I'm getting, but it's not as sweet as I thought it would be.
but not as spicy either.
But it's not spicy.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a little sweet, but not real sweet. But it's also not the rye spice.
Nice.
It's like it's missing both.
Right.
I don't know. It's weird.
I don't know if not having the spice is a bad thing.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I think it's approachable, very approachable
Yes.
for rye.
And this is 95.5. Is that correct or non-disclosed?
So they have two 95.5 rye and then one that's 56.
Okay.
So they could have 56.43, something or other.
Okay.
So those are the two Sagamore. There's two different mash bills of what they're sourcing from Sagamore.
I feel
And the
like when
95.5 from Bardstown.
Oh, there it is. 52.43. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like right from the drink, I get caramel scent in it, a caramel note out of it.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, Kenny, you said you didn't get a lot of sweetness.
I get a little sweetness, but not a
I get
lot.
a hit of sweet, and then I get the spice on the back end, actually.
Really
yeah.
getting spice
I get
on
the
the back
spice on the back end, yeah.
Let me hit a couple more drinks. My first, maybe just going from bourbon to rye like that.
It might be, but like it's on the outsides of my tongue where I'm getting the rye spice. I actually kind of like it. Steven, early on in the stable, I'm agreeing with you. I think I like I'm going to leave a little bit here so I can have a little bit more bourbon, but I think I like the rye right now better than the bourbon.
I like the rye better than the bourbon.
It's brighter. It's got that nice sweetness with the caramel right there.
Right. It almost strikes me as like
I think it's got the underlines of peppercorn.
Yeah, like a peppercorn, citrus, a little bit of. Okay, so you know how the time when I can't remember what rye it was. At Pride of Anderson County, I said it was black tea, green tea, maybe some green tea.
So the front for me is not caramel. The front for me is like earthy dirt a little bit, like earthiness. But earthy might be the tea earthiness.
Maybe
a tea,
like a tea leaves kind of thing. I think it's like tea leaves or green tea.
I like the rye better than the bourbon, though, for me at least.
There's a lot more going on with the rye, I think, anyway, than the bourbon, but that's just me. So as we're talking and tasting here, I'm going to need some more bourbon. You have to pass it over to me.
The bourbon?
Yeah, the bourbon.
Steven?
Do you guys know, like, so these products, the thing that throws me off here is I don't drink a lot of Bardstown Bourbon Company that I know of anyway. I don't buy their products. I'm just being honest.
Because they're dang expensive?
Because they're expensive. Which one?
Can I have a glass, Anthony? A clean glass.
A clean glass?
You should have 4 glasses total.
Yes, I do. Here's a clean glass for you.
All right.
Kenny's already doing blinding over here. But I just wanted to say that when I'm thinking about this, I don't know anything about Finger Lakes, right? Nothing about Finger Lakes.
They're very deep.
The Finger Lakes are deep?
Yeah, I went there when I was younger, and if I remember right, this might sound stupid.
Yeah.
But I think the lakes are like 500 feet deep.
Oh, yes. But what are they distilling in those lakes?
Nessie.
Nessie's there.
Yes.
Okay, Loch Ness Monster's there. So, yeah. But, okay, so Finger Lakes Distilling. Literally don't know anything about them. Never had anything there, right? Bardstown, don't know a lot about them. I mean, I know a lot about Bardstown, sorry. Just don't drink their products. Past that, Random Tennessee Distiller. Could be
Bardstown, man,
whatever.
is so huge.
I know,
it's
there's
crazy
a lot of stuff.
how many things that they make for so many other people.
Right, exactly.
It is wild. And how many mash bills that they have. I mean, when I say unlimited mash bills, their mash bills are
right.
It is off the charts how many mash bills they do.
But it's just, for me, I'm thinking to myself, like, what do I know about this stuff other than they're telling me what's in the blend? But I don't, even Sagamore, we didn't like that double oaked rye we tasted.
Right.
But that doesn't, how much experience do I have tasting anything from Sagamore? So
yeah.
They're trying to, they sell you sort of on this thing. Their brand statement says that they're trying to basically, create a unique experience. And so they said, Pursuit United was created for those who want something new, the curious drinker who wants something fun and creative, showcases how blending different mash bills and barrel types from different distilleries in different states with varying age conditions can create a new whiskey that's worth sharing with others. I mean, I think that's a pretty, that brand statement is pretty accurate to what we're doing tonight and tasting, compared to what we know about bourbon, I think that's pretty accurate.
The $59-ish price
right.
is stomachable.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I like that, stomachable.
It is.
Do that.
Because, dude, a lot, I mean, like I said, and I don't think I told Steven off recording about a month or two ago, I met not going to bring it up which one, but I met a particular Kentucky distiller that's a newer distillery that has their own bottles out. That met him at Liquor Bar, and we talked for 15, 20 minutes. And he said that they have their own, it's their own distillate.
All good conversations start at Liquor Bar, by the way.
Yeah, it's their own juice. They make it themselves. They have a still on site, blah, 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 blah. And while I was standing there, he poured me a couple of different pours, and I enjoyed a few of them, but I didn't actually turn around, didn't grab the bottles from his hand and look at the back of them. Now I've seen 3 different bottles. One says distilled in Paris, one says distilled in Florida, and the other one I forgot where it's distilled at. So it's like they don't even make their own stuff when he told me that they did, So it's one of those things, just be upfront about it.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with an NDP. Just be honest about it. So these guys are 100% honest with it, and that's the thing. You might put 10% of this one barrel from Tennessee in with 60% of this barrel from the other place, and you might create an amazing blend.
Right.
And if they're doing that on site for people, that's kind of cool. If they're doing or just creating different things in their area, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Before you move on back to your bourbon you poured, try that little blonde I just poured you.
Yeah. What'd you pour on the blend here? That's more fruity. What you poured? It's got like a little bit of a fruit salad note to me. Steven's already tasting. I'm influencing him. Like melon notes.
Yeah, definitely melon.
Yeah, melon. Big time melon. Let's say melon and...
Like honeydew, cantaloupe?
Yeah, honeydew cantaloupe. I just made a joke about cantaloupe earlier, and now we actually have something that has a very melony flavor to it.
Yeah. Sandbags, huh?
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
There you go.
I'm going to have a little bit more of the bourbon, too. I'm going to revisit it.
Yeah, it's what you gave is very light.
Yeah, light.
Fruity, floral.
Light citrusy.
Yeah, very good. Curious what it is.
Yep. We'll save that for a little bit. You going back to the bourbon now?
I just went back to the bourbon, yeah.
Are you going back, Steven? I guess I'll go back as well.
Bourbon too.
But I definitely like the rye better than the bourbon for me, at least.
It didn't change my opinion as much on when I went back to the bourbon, whatever you poured me. It still hits the same way. It starts off nice. It just has a finish that like kind of goes up a little bit and goes up in a way that like, yeah, it just reminds me of like it's a weird thing to say, man. I've never had that finish like that before. What I call almost like a half carbonated club soda finish. Yeah, which is weird because club soda, doesn't really have a flavor, I guess, right?
It's because it's very...
it's very fruity, yeah.
It's very fruity.
No, it's very fruity. So
the bourbon is like carbonated. It's carbonated.
It's weird, yeah. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah.
I'm gonna go back to it again.
I don't know. I had a stretch there where I used to drink those bubbly drinks there and there, but
dude, what's crazy is how sweet the front side of that bourbon is.
It's so sweet, yeah, absolutely.
Which is surprised that you like the rye more,
right? That bourbon, I'm not saying it's my jam or not my jam. We'll find that out here in a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
But to go back to what Steven said, I think it is quote unquote crushable. So like if you
it is.
Opened a bottle with 4 or 5 friends,
I like it.
So like how like I sit up here at my house is we do quarter ounce to eighth ounce to quarter ounce pours,
right?
Or quarter ounce to half ounce pours at the most of 10 to 15 different things. But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people just sit around and they'll drink.
So like
you can easily kill this whole entire thing around a freaking,
outdoor gathering.
What's the
if you're in a
fire thing? Fire
pit?
A fire pit. Yes.
Fire
Goodness gracious. Firefly.
So you can just sit around and just like crush it. It's killable.
I love it.
All right, so here's the real question I think on both these Pursuit products.
Okay.
So they're in the 60s price range. Let's say we're going to a cabin in Tennessee for the weekend, and you want to bring something. There's a little something different,
right?
Are we happy bringing this?
Okay.
Is that like? I guess for the bourbon, like it's gonna be crushed, right? Like, is there anything in the $30 range below versus that bourbon? That we would like this bourbon better?
Yeah, that's a tough one because I think there's a lot of stuff that
it's different though.
Yeah, it's different,
especially for like an off weekend.
It's sweet.
It's sweet. Yeah.
So if someone's so I have got a blind down here you don't know about that I want to put up against that bourbon.
You talking about this one?
That was a blind to go against the rye.
Okay. This is a rye?
Oh,
that's why I said drink that before you go back to the bourbon.
I didn't hear that.
Wow.
So that previous blind was to go against the rye. That's why I said for you, because we just got done drinking the rye, I'm like, try this. And I wanted you to try that before we go back to the bourbon. But now I'm questioning this blind down here. Do I go ahead and do a bottle that's similar priced to this bourbon?
Right.
Or do I do one that that's my initial thing.
Right.
Or based on what Steven just said, or what you said, do I go ahead and pull out a blind that is less expensive than this one?
It can be either way, because if I'm going to Tennessee, like, you're going to finish the bottle.
Yeah.
But more than likely, you're going to be with friends and family.
Right.
Like, do you just want to do something like...
Clean glass. Y'all should have clean glasses.
Oh, gosh. Here we go.
There was 4 glasses. Yes.
Well, I didn't clean this.
I have a clean one.
Everybody have 4.
There's my... Well, here's what I have to say as we're cleaning glasses and doing a blind now. What am I supposed to be blinding this? Bourbon?
It's bourbon.
Bourbon, okay.
Yeah.
I think, Stephen, back to what you were saying about Tennessee, okay?
Like, I don't know if the price is the big deal, because, like, you're going for a weekend.
Yeah.
Like, it's different. It's good. I mean, that's all you need. That's all you care about.
But going back to what I said,
So
a couple episodes ago, I was complaining about bourbon brands and whether the personnel make or break, and Kenny brought me over to his side. He said, what does it mean to you in terms of do the people matter? And I think the people matter, as Kenny said, if they're going to, and that you said too, if they're going to upsell you. When I say upsell, meaning that like if you care about them enough to believe in the brand. And so I think that if you're taking this to Tennessee, you're also thinking to yourself, I can tell a story about how these guys are podcasters who started a spirits company.
Right.
And they know their stuff. We know they know their stuff, right? That's not in question. But that can kind of play into the tasting of this, but
Right.
we'll see. We'll see after Kenny
Cloud
pours
your
the blind
judgment
here.
is what you're trying to say?
Well, not even really
Good or
cloud-
bad.
Yeah, good or bad.
Yeah.
Cloud your judgment, but then there's a story to tell. Which
It's
how many-
fun.
Yeah, it's fun. How many bottles don't have a story, right? At least this is like, two guys that started off as enthusiasts that, have a passion for this and they care about what they're doing,
And now they're number one.
Exactly. And they're number one in the space.
So what am I doing here?
So this is a blind against the bourbon.
Okay.
The bourbon. So you can drink. Do you have some of the bourbon left? Okay. Yeah. So you'll taste this, taste the bourbon, and see which one you like better, you think.
Well, geez, this is a
They're like damn close.
dead heat here.
Yeah.
This is very close. Very
Of the
damn
bourbon.
close.
So the bourbon blind you gave me, I'm not gonna say they taste identical, but they're really close.
Yeah,
the
right.
rye's, whatever that blind is,
It's pretty killer, isn't it?
Yeah,
money.
The rye blind, whatever the heck that is killer. And if that's the same price,
But-
I want more of those.
yeah. I mean, but the Pursuit
Bourbon's
United
dead
blind,
heat, yeah.
rye, I enjoyed.
Dang it, Kenny! What the hell have you done?
Well, so I think the bourbon blonde I gave you has a much better mid palate and finish, like a lot more complexity to it.
Yeah,
But they're not too far apart. I don't
right.
think.
I feel like I know this bourbon,
What the blind one?
the blind one he gave us.
I feel like it's 1910.
Damn it!
It might be 1910. And I mean, the price range 1910 costs exactly what. Pursuit
That's
does.
true. 1910 is the $65 range.
Well, Kenny's left. He's gone.
Oh well,
So now,
just me and you, old times.
Yeah, just like back then, episode 80. No, I'm just kidding. From what, like 50
Two.
some to 52 on
Put you on
to almost 100, and then Michael came back.
100, 101.
What is this now? Third blind?
All right. So,
Okay, this is off the rails now.
but
Officially off the
this
rails.
is the last one. Promise you, it's the last one.
Thank
so,
you.
who has the original bourbon left from Bourbon Pursuit?
Right here,
You need a little bit more.
I got a hair.
right here.
All right, tiny bit
They
more.
got it.
Just give me a quarter.
Just tiny bit.
I love the way you said original from Bourbon Pursuit because that's what it is. We call it Bourbon Pursuit.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Pursuit United.
There you
Yes,
go.
Bourbon Pursuit.
Get the branding right.
Not just. I mean, it's awesome what they've done.
I know.
You know.
Oh,
Actually, I
absolutely.
wish the name was a little different because I feel like I want to call it Bourbon Pursuit Bourbon.
I know, right?
When like Pursuit is first,
Yeah.
it's throwing me off.
I know. They should have just did Bourbon Pursuit, right?
Yeah, Bourbon Pursuit.
Bourbon Pursuit Bourbon. Damn it.
All right. So, if you want to drink the Pursuit United,
Okay.
you can.
The
and
bourbon?
then drink the blind or the blind, then the other. Just go.
Which
back.
blind are we talking about?
The very last blind I just gave you.
So drink the bourbon from
Pursuit.
this episode, and
Yes.
then the new
Yes.
Glass just gave us.
Yep. There we go.
What have you done here, sir?
Well, and I will say before we get to that, the more that I've drank the Pursuit United bourbon,
Yeah.
I think I might like it better on the rye a little bit now.
What'd you
It
think?
feels
Go
a
ahead.
little watery compared to the Pursuit.
Right. Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a little bit.
And that's funny what you said about drinking the Pursuit bourbon more. You've enjoyed it more.
Now that I've hit it a few more times, it's better than what I first initially liked it. Because I did like the rye better first. But I might like the bourbon better than the rye now. All right, so I'm doing the same thing y'all are doing, except mine's not blind, but I'm trying to compare honestly.
So this blind that you poured is still more like floral and citrusy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going back to Pursuit. So what's funny is I think the second blind that you poured was, I still have a little bit left of that. That competed more. Actually, the third blind you poured, I'd love to know what that is. I hope it's Buffalo Trace because I don't know if I like the third blind you poured.
Okay.
Compared,
Compared to,
it feels. I'm with you. The
Second blind for bourbon.
Pursuit and the first blind.
right.
They're close.
Very close, yeah.
I mean, at this point, it would just be whatever is cheaper.
Yeah.
They're that close.
yeah.
The third one compared to the Pursuit, I think I like the Pursuit better.
I do.
On the bourbon.
I like Pursuit better than the third one. Yeah, for sure.
The rye, I think
100%.
the rye is still sticking to what I said.
I didn't know this was going to turn into a blind off down here. Here it is.
But man, that rye blind you gave me.
That rye was.
I mean, if you got stock in that,
You got stock in that?
you got stock in this because I may
you
buy
go.
it before I leave the house.
There you go. We're going to buy stock in the futures of that rye that you poured. Watch
All
you
right.
say it.
So I think
we ready for past try?
I think I like the bourbon Pursuit, the Pursuit United bourbon better than both of the blinds.
Really?
I think.
Wow.
I'm like you all though. The first blind I poured against the bourbon,
That one hung.
I could kind of go back and
That
forth.
hung. That
I
hung,
could go
yeah,
back and
definitely
forth.
hung.
But I think it's a little more earthy, and I like sweet, so
We are putting these bourbons and ryes through their paces, ladies and gentlemen.
All right.
How do we want to do this? Do we want to pass, try, buy, and then reveal? I guess pass, try, buy. Are we going to pass, try, buy on both the bourbon and the rye, or which one we like better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think we pass, try,
And then say which one we like better?
on the ryes or the bourbon. And then
Say which one we like better?
I think I reveal the blinds, and then you can redo your pass, try, buy based on knowing what the blinds are.
I like that.
So, lads, would you pass, try, or buy on the Bourbon Pursuit United bourbon and the rye?
Ooh. Well, should I go first?
Go.
Initial impressions after the rounds of blinding, which I'd love to know, was I'm probably a buy on the rye. And then I'm probably a try on the bourbon. It's weird. So I liked both of them, but I thought about the bourbon being a more robust category of more things that I've tasted, and I wasn't quite sure how I felt about the bourbon. So I'm a buy on the rye. I really liked it. I thought there was a lot going on there and more complexity, and I thought the bourbon, the finish is what killed it for me. But after the blinding, I want to know what those blinds are, and then I might revise. So
The bourbon had some youthfulness to it.
Yeah, a little youth.
The mid and end palate was youthful.
Yeah. Yep.
So you go, Steven. This is without you knowing what the blinds are. So that's where you all get to go first.
Thank you, Kenny.
'Cause I know what the blinds are, so it's not fair for me to actually say that yet.
I'm actually going to be a buy on both of them.
Buy on both.
Buy on both. Now, this may change my mind depending on the
After
cost.
the blinds.
Off of
Right.
the cost of the first blind we had on the bourbon.
Yep.
Right.
But I'll be definitely solid buy on the rye.
Yep.
And after tasting these two blinds, not knowing the cost of them, I would say I would buy the bourbon as well.
No, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Kenny, where you at, brother?
I think I need to go after I reveal the blinds. Because it's not fair for me because I know what I blinded y'all with.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
So Kenny
Okay.
blinded
So-
me and Steven. So here we go.
So start with the
Let's do
bourbons.
it. Yeah, here we go.
So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what I am though before I tell you the blinds. But mine is based on knowing what the blinds are.
Okay.
I would try the bourbon
Okay.
and I would pass on the rye.
Pass on the rye. Wow. Okay. That's
But
bold.
I know what the blinds are.
That's
right.
true.
All right.
That rye you poured was the blind rye
right.
you poured was dynamic.
So this is a $60 rye from Pursuit United, right?
Yes. Correct.
The blind I poured, you all loved it.
Old Forester. Old Forester.
Oh, it was the old
$25.
Forester rye. Dang.
$25 100 proof Old Forester rye.
That was delicious.
That's why I'm a pass on the rye
Oh,
because for
citrus and
$25
lemongrass.
I can get
My
this. And to me, this
You know,
is
this
a lot
was
better.
this was up there with your Redbreast 27 as far as the
Fruitiness.
level of fruitiness.
Yeah.
It's fruity.
And
Well,
I
that's
thought it was
I have a tiny bit left in this glass.
So that's why I'm a pass myself, just because this is less than half the price. And I'd rather drink this.
Dang.
oh man,
Just
I've
being
never
honest with
gone
you.
from a buy to a pass.
that's
Never.
All right, so
Never. Okay,
and then
well, it's
for the
got the
bourbon,
asterisks.
yep,
I know, right?
for the bourbon, I'm a try.
okay.
Okay.
The first blind I poured you, which was kind of similar, I thought,
Yeah.
was one of the higher regarded bourbons for the money on the market.
Okay.
Which has recently in the last 10 months gone up in retail, unfortunately. Wild Turkey Rare Breed.
Okay. That's actually interesting.
So Pursuit United and Rare Breed were
neck and neck.
neck
All right,
and
so
neck.
rare breed what is around $45, $50?
No,
No,
you-
it's
it's
almost
$60 now.
Yeah, it's 60.
A year ago, it was only $39, $38.
I used to drink the crap
Yes.
out of it. $30.
So-
We did an
I mean,
episode on it, didn't we?
40. Maybe we. I don't know if we did.
I think
or
we did
not.
a rare
I think we
breed,
did a
didn't
rare
we?
breed. Yeah,
now,
rare breed's
if we
always
did this
been a buy.
episode a year ago,
Yeah.
then it would have been a pass on the bourbon because it was still $60 for Pursuit a year ago.
Episode
Right.
13.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Episode 13.
13.
Yikes.
Wow. So Rare Breed has gone up almost double in the last year and a half.
Right.
Pursuit stayed about the same.
That's
And
because of David Jennings, right? Because of his likeness.
And,
His
we
name
had
image likeness contract for rare breed. I'm just kidding.
On episode 13, it was a 2020 bottle,
Right.
and it was $40.
And we
40?
yeah, exactly 40
Now they're
bucks.
60, man.
And now we were a buy try on it.
When I got to Kentucky in 2011, I was paying $30 for rare breed
Yeah.
on the shelf. I remember that.
That's why I did Rare Breed because they're both right. I think Rare Breed's $56.99 and this is
Yeah.
$59.99.
So they're
right there
pretty.
together.
They're right there taste wise.
And then the second bourbon blonde I gave you was Cooper's Craft 100 Proof.
Okay.
Which is a $30 bottle.
I think it beat Cooper's.
Yeah, I think
Definitely
it
beat
did.
Cooper's,
Yeah,
but Cooper's is half the price. I just want to see where it would land at.
Yeah.
So that's why I was a try still because I could take rare breed or that, either one about the same. So I think it's a try. I'm still not a buy on it because I don't like to sit.
Good gracious!
But yeah,
now I feel if I feel changing my rye.
but you can though. That's why we did.
I know, but I feel like
ratings first before
are we going to compare every damn rye against this $25 bottle?
I'm just man.
It's going to be like what's gonna beat it,
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's props to Old Forester. Man.
No doubt.
They did a good job.
I think I still will be a buy on the bourbon. I'm not going to modify it in my sheet, in our master sheet.
Oh, he's not modifying.
I should modify.
I don't know, but I will go to a pass on the rye.
Wow.
If I'm comparing it to the Old Forester,
that's less than half the price.
That's less than half the price.
Yep.
Yeah.
You
know what's funny?
I enjoyed the rye drink, but I don't know now. Should I be a try then? Go hit me in the middle.
You can if you want.
You can do a try, or you can pass if you'd pass.
Like I liked it, but I feel bad. Like I don't know why comparing it to something.
It was still good. Though.
Good.
So you
But
don't.
I liked it. The problem is I liked it more than the bourbon. So if I'm keeping a buy at the bourbon, I don't know if I can drop the rye.
I don't think you can drop to a pass. You can probably drop to a try, not a pass.
Yeah.
But the thing I do like, and this is what has saved a lot of grace or saving face for me with them, is that these are $59 bottles.
Right.
If these were $79 bottles, it'd be passes all day long.
Yeah,
100%.
Absolutely.
So the fact that they've kept it at 59, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
I'm actually cool with that.
Yeah. And my revise is basically that I would flip on the bourbon and rye.
Yeah.
Buy, try.
Yeah, I would flip them. I would say try on rye, and I would buy on the bourbon, which was not what I expected to be.
Which is funny because we were doing all the ryes the whole time, and now we're both a buy with a try on with the rye.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, Kenny, what are you? Are you gonna keep?
I'm gonna try the bourbon and pass on the rye. Yeah.
There you go.
Oh wow. Okay. Man,
Very
the Old
good.
Forester is like something else.
It's just for the money, man.
That dang Old Forester keeps creeping up.
I can't imagine how fruity it is.
That was very good. I mean, that lemongrass note and the citrus note that they got in there is just unbelievable. It's very good.
Man, so it'd be a great spot to end.
Yes, sir.
But I got something for you.
What?
And I think you need to we need to do it on air. So get ready.
Okay. Did Bourbon Pursuit send you like a sample? Like, I don't think I have a clean glass. I'm just saying, we got to do it on air.
Oh, aren't those little cute glasses? They're like half gallons. Is your dishwasher remember to handle all this?
Oh, yeah, it is. I have a Bosch with a water softener built in. I'm good. So we have been on a little bender here with when we do 2 bottles, it's things change because then we got more blinds, but it is what it is.
That's your fault.
So this is something I wanted you all to drink and sip. This will be coming to the market. This is not on the market right now, just so you know.
Not on the market.
This is not on the market, but this will be coming to the market soon.
Okay.
This has got some ties to somebody that we talk about periodically.
Ed Bly.
I am going to just bite my lip.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to say Kenny.
So,
Kenny.
I want you to see what you think about this. And
right off the bat, the nose.
I thoroughly really enjoyed this. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this myself personally.
I nosed it. Now my nose is bleeding. I'm kidding.
So when I say I love a flavor ride,
right.
Drink this, close your eyes, and just wait and see. It takes you up, down, left, right. It's like a roller coaster. You're all over the place. It's not just straightforward. The front, and this is not even front, middle, end. This has got about 5 or 6 stages through it, but it changes 5 or 6 times throughout the drink. So take a sip and just see how it changes to you.
This has like the caramel peanut cashew flavor register for me. Like that register. I don't know. Register? Can you say it? Register? Registrar.
You know, at the Steam University.
Turn your grades in, dang it.
I enjoy this.
I feel like we've had this before.
You think so? I don't know if we have or not. This has a very, caramel nut forward, like in a good way. It tastes good.
I assume we're not going to really reveal this, right?
Oh, I'm going to reveal.
You're going to reveal?
We're going to reveal, bro. So this is something, like I said, is not on the market yet.
Why not?
And I'm not going to.
Coming soon.
It's coming soon. Coming soon.
Leave your pants on.
This will blow you away when I tell you what the mash bill is on this.
Okay.
You better not tell me it's rye.
If this is rye, then you can just go straight to H.
Heaven?
Exactly.
I tried hard. We got to keep it PC here.
All right, but do y'all like this?
PC and PG.
I think it's aight.
It's good. I like it. Yeah, I like it.
Believe it or not. Are you ready?
You distilled this.
This is a 95.5 MGP rye.
No, it's not. No freaking way. Mislabeled. Barrel's mislabeled.
Fake
I mean, mislabeled barrel.
Is this not incredible?
It's very good.
All right. So this is, I'm not going to say the name of what the bottling is going to be,
Okay.
but this will be coming out soon.
Bottling is liar.
This is something that
Mash bill is liar.
Rare Bird 101 is working on. This is his rye blend.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
Rare Bird 101.
Yep. I'm not
Rye
going to
blend.
say. I'm not going to say what it's finished in. I'm not going to say any of that kind of stuff. But just know, Rare Bird's been working on the project, and this is it, and it is freaking phenomenal.
You got to be freaking kidding me.
Nope.
That's a rye whiskey?
Rye 95.5.
There is no way.
95. Not
Nope.
just a 51, 56,
Liar.
52%. 95.5.
Dang, that's good.
Bro.
Holy cow.
But it is that flavor ride. It's up, it's down, it's left, it's right.
Man.
It's sweet and it's spicy
That's
and it's
really good.
caramel and it's
That's really
just
good.
all over the place everywhere.
Well,
So
I will say this. If nothing else, I think that Bourbon Pursuit and Pursuit Spirits is on solid footing. And I'm very excited to taste what they have next. But I also love the fact that other influencers like Rare Bird are out there doing their own blends and thinking about whiskey in ways that others aren't. And that's crazy to think that that is a rye. Are you kidding me?
that's serious.
That's really good.
My God.
95.5 even.
Holy cow. 95. There's no way that's 95.
And to go with you on the Pursuit.
Yes.
Now I know we didn't review the current bottling of it,
Right.
but I've heard that they're actually labeled what they are as far as like the year.
Okay.
So it's really cool that they're doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And they projected all along saying they wanted the honesty in the bottle, like of what the whiskey is and the source of it and everything. So power to them. That's great.
Boom.
And with that, thanks for listening to this week's edition. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY.
Don't forget to visit our partner, bourbonoutfitter.com. Enter code The Mashup for a special discount.
Also, let us know your thoughts on this bottle in the comment section. Until next time, keep it neat.